guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Downtime Podcast. Today I have a very special guest here. Right, I think a lot of people know him from the Summoners War community, and now he's also going to be in the Etheria Restart community. And it's Sean B. So Sean B, want to give a little introduction to my community on who you are, what you do?
Hey guys, I'm Sean B. I've been making content for Summoners War for way too long, and I definitely need something new to play. And Etheria Restart is pretty much the perfect new thing that is not too new, that I'm gonna really enjoy very, very soon here on global launch June 5th. So very excited to play Etheria Restart. I'll be making a lot of content, and today I have the opportunity to talk with one of the best RTA player from the final closed beta that happened recently. So I can't wait to see what he has to offer, because I want to learn from all the best player, and Sterbby is definitely gonna be one of them.
Awesome. Well, guys, so let's ask Sean B a couple of questions, right? What was the main reason that drove you to play Etheria Restart besides finding a new game?
Right, so I love playing competitive game. I love playing multiplayer game. And for the past many years now, the new mobile game or gacha game or hero collector game, RPG game that come out is always the fucking same, man. It's always, PvE, story based, you run around, and then after like the big content drop, you play for like 10 minutes and then you log off and you forget about the game, which is like, I want to play a game where I play the game for like hours and think about the game and strategy and theory crafting, all that stuff. And for the past many years, there hasn't been something that is gonna be that good. And then there's this thing that came out of nowhere, has RTA, has guild PvP, has anime waifus that, will be a nice plus as well. All things combined for this game, and I love it so much. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, that's exactly the same way I felt. I tried to play, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact. I tried playing all of that stuff, and you know what really, hit me? I don't know if you can relate to this, Sean, but I don't understand why I'm grinding for gears. I don't understand it. Like, am I just grinding for gears just to clear AI content that I can already clear with my previous gear? Why am I grinding for more gears? I never understood that. And every time I start playing it, I'm like, okay, this is fun. 1 month later, I'm not touching this. This is boring as shit. And it's and to me, the missing factor is that there is no competition and there is no, drive for me to, go, I need better gear because this person in this server has this, quad roll speed gear and I can't race him. So I want to get that quad roll on my gear and I need to race him, right? To get better. And then finally when I get it, that satisfaction, it's so different from, going, I see, this perfect DPS, crit rate, crit damage, speed, attack piece in a PvE game and go, it wrote whatever, I don't care.
Exactly.
It just feels different. And that's the whole reason why I would like playing, turn-based, multiplayer, PvP games. Emphasis on PvP. And so, with your experience playing Summoners War, what's your experience like in RTA?
I think RTA is gonna be one of the most rage-inducing mode in this game, just like Summoners War, where no matter how good you are, no matter how strong your account is, no matter what kind of LD, SSR you're gonna pull, your win rate will fluctuate around 50-60%. Maybe if you're like a god gamer like Sterbby, then maybe 65-70%, but you're still gonna lose a whole lot. And that's gonna be where it's gonna be so much rage-inducing. And that's what I think what a lot of people miss in like PvE game, where you get your team set up, you think about so much, you farm so much, and then you go and clear the same content that you cleared before so easily, and then doesn't feel the dopamine doesn't hit the same. But then this is like, I'm fighting this guy that I see on YouTube, or like, I'm fighting my friend. It's gonna be so much fun because I put my TAM in, I put the grinding in, and now like the RNG is all hit for my gear to roll well, and my unit are all really good. I got some dupes in there as well, and now I can finally compete with somebody, a real person, not AI, a real person on the other side of the screen is gonna be fighting against me. That's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it feels different, like especially when you see content creators, like you see Sean on the ladder, you see me on the ladder, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta fight him now. And then you play the game and then realize you clapped our cheeks You're like, holy shit, I just beat Sean, I just beat Sterbby, and you start screenshotting it, you go to Discord, you're like, dude, I just beat this content creator, I can clown on him now. I'm like, it hits different, you know what I mean? And
Exactly.
I've been on that receiving end before where, I'll see streamers, because I come from Epic 7 and Sean comes from Summon as well. I think we both have the same similarities here, where, we'll see this content creator or the streamer, we'll play them, and we're like, oh shit, we're sweating, bro. Oh my god, I know what his gears are like. And then you beat them and you're like, oh, time to screenshot and be like, hey guys, I'm the G, I beat the guy. And like that kind of, fun, it's actually so, it's intoxicating in a way. But at the same time, when you start losing, the rage queuing, you're like, I can't believe I lost, bro. Then you keep hitting next. And you can sit there for hours. That's the great thing. You don't always have to farm. That's the good thing about, PvP games, where you farm for a certain amount of time, your stamina is exhausted, you got nothing else to do. What do you do in a PvE game? You log off and then you do nothing, you touch grass. Let's be real, we don't touch grass. So with PvP games, you can just sit there and just play, right? You can still enjoy the game and then be like, okay, so what happened here? Why did I lose here? You can start theory crafting, go into Discord, and it just creates this community of, not just people in the guild because they, want to, get all the rewards. You're now helping each other, which is amazing, in my opinion. And so, we also know that this game just announced, that we have Union Fronts, and, we just got the hyper talk here, right? And how did you feel about the hyper talk? I know we talked about this already, but I just wanted you to, say this out in the podcast. How do you feel?
All right, so there's stuff that were not so important that are very important to other people. Okay, that's fine. I don't yum. It's all whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. So the couple things that I really care about, things like, let's say, more stamina for free-to-play player or just player in general. Everybody love more stamina. That's gonna be great. And then there's gonna be new character. One of them is gonna be like super pay to win. Ooh, I'm not sure about that one though. I think that was a light, a constant SSR.
Yeah.
So very strong, look very strong. Not sure how strong that is because nobody played with her yet. And there's a 4-star or an SR green characters, but then they didn't really talk about it, so that's kind of lame. Like they put so much attention on the pay to win character. Ooh, look at the skill description, base stat, and then when you go to the SR character, like, oh, never mind, show nothing. Like, what the fuck was that? And then one of the biggest thing from the talk was definitely going to be the guild PvP system, where they also talk about for like 10 seconds. They spend like 20 seconds on gender ratio, but then 10 seconds on the actual gameplay content. It's kind of funny that they talk about gender ratio and then drop 2 female characters. One of them is a lolly. I don't know what I don't know about that. Jack is smoking over there. But the United Front looks really, really good because I think that's gonna be the mode where it's gonna create a lot of bonding in the community, because when you join a guild, you start playing together and then you start pushing one another to win more in the United Front, because if you lose, you also drag your guild win rate down, which is gonna suck and you're gonna get shit on by your guildies, whatever. But it's a mode where it's gonna create a lot of smaller community, a lot of bonding between players, because I know a lot of whales and summoners that whale so much and they don't even play RTA. Like they play RTA like barely. They could crush the high rank, but they don't care. But they wail so much because they want to be the best player for their guild. They want to win 100%, 99% of the time. They want their defense team to be the best defense team possible. And I think that's going to be such a great thing to have in this game as well.
Yep, definitely. And so in E7, our guild war was basically, you have all your low defenses, and then you have the main tower that you have to take down to get the most points. Is that the same with Summoner's War?
They used to have a similar-ish system, but they switch it. So we have like a guild war where you play cross server too. It's pretty cool. So you can play guild from like Korea server, China server, and then you see all the fucking SSR, LD in there. Like, whoa, China server is crazy. But it's pretty fun because you get to play against other guilds. But it's not like what you're describing is more similar to, we have a siege system where it's actually like a triangle formula where there are 3 guilds playing to see who can capture the most point, because you capture a base and then you'll gain point during the time when the base is yours, and if they recapture it, then your points will gain slower. So it's always a race on who capture more and then gain the points as long as possible, that kind of stuff. Very, very challenging, and a lot of like base fueling strategy in between. It's a hell for like the guild leaders because they have to do all that. You know, as a player, I don't participate in leading the guild. A lot of work. So I just play, get the match, I win the match, all good. But then for the leaders, they have to see when they need to capture, for how long, and where, and all that kind of stuff. It's like a lot of headache, but very fun.
Yeah, definitely. When I was, running the guild back in Epic 7, we had to, us as, the guild leader and the officers, we had to team up and then we had to, go, all right, so the scouts will go in now. We're going to check out what they have, what gears they have, what speed they have, write that all down. Then we have to make sure, okay, so who can we delegate to go and attack this, right? And then we have to ping them. And then player management in gacha games, I swear to God, is the most infuriating thing to ever do, right? Because you will ping them and then you tell them, all right, we need you to go in. This is what we need you to do. Go. We give you all the blueprint. Take it. They don't see for 24 hours, and then the last five minutes before the guild war's gonna end, they're like, oh, did I miss anything? I'm like, what do you mean, bro?
You miss everything.
You miss everything, and now we have to re-strategize because you decided to AFK, and we are like, okay, but that is also the fun in it, right? Because when you actually manage to beat like a good guild, and then you are in the top guild, it's flex power, and that's what everybody wants. And so,
all right, but that might sound like a fucking part-time job to you guys, and it might sound like, oh shit, I don't want to touch that. Don't worry, that is the top guild thing, okay? In a casual guild environment, it's not gonna be that try hard. Nobody's gonna ping you like fucking your boss micromanage you. It's not that crazy. In like the mid-tier and the casual guild, you can still get a lot of rewards, but it's not gonna be like that crazy, okay? Might scare a lot of people who play like, I don't know, Wuthering Wave or Honkai Story, but like, what the fuck? So try hard. I'm running away. No, relax. Okay, calm down.
I may have leaked some some top tier strategies there, but at least you know what it's like to be when you're playing for top. That's what I was trying to showcase. And so with this Union Front, did you like pause the video and then take a look at what they have and stuff like that? Did you notice anything from the preview that they gave us for Union Front?
I think at least they show us there's going to be a map with like more than 10 bases. And when you click on one of the bases, they also show that there are going to be 3 slots for one team. So it's definitely going to be a 3v3 situation in the Union Front. And that's going to be great because we have 4v4 in all the PvP. And with 3v3, it's definitely going to be more challenging because you now have less slot and your combo is going to be different. Your team choice is going to be entirely different. The meta in the guild PvP is going to be entirely different because it's 3v3. You might think that, one unit less, not going to be that much different, but it is going to be very much different when you have one less slot for support, one less slot for DPS. It's going to create an entirely new meta that can let other units shine more, for example. And that's going to be great because I think in Summoners War, when you look at the meta in like guild content, it is so much different from the meta of RTA. That is crazy. Like unit that are like oppressive in RTA is irrelevant in guild content. So if you like guild content, you might enjoy the game in a very different perspective, which is going to be great.
Yeah, I agree. Did you also notice that when you enter, that one of the territories, you get to see that there is a debuff effect? Almost like, Ember Track where, every 10 times, a lightning will strike you, that kind of stuff. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That changes the landscape of, 3v3 now. So
exactly. I think like special rule for tower is going to be exciting, especially like, oh, you can only use our character for this tower for defense and offense. Oh, exciting now.
That's going to hurt me as a whale, bro. I'm never going to fucking level up rare units. I'm just going to worry all about my SSRs, man. But so SA, do you spend a lot in games?
I try not to.
How about Etheria restart? Did you spend a lot in the beta or did you not?
Will you say $100 is a lot? Probably not.
I mean, it's an amount. But
yeah,
how did you feel spending that $100? I want to get into the mindset of someone who spends a little bit as well, so that the players understand the economy of this game as well a little bit.
I think spending in Etheria start will probably not have a crazy impact in the game unless you are like spending a stupid amount and max dupe every unit. But if you spend a bit here and there to potentially get a little bit fast progression, then I don't think it's probably gonna have a huge impact to someone who like doesn't spend at all. Like compared to a guy who spends 0 to a guy who spends like $50 a month, the gap might not be that big at all actually. I felt.
I agree. Because I did spend to get all the thresholds and the rebate, and I still felt like I wasn't progressing fast enough. So and it's so different from like other games where you spend and you're like, I can definitely feel that power gap. I didn't feel it here. In fact, I was struggling. I was struggling so much so that I was buying out the Chaku ring skins because I needed the coins.
What?
You know the Chaku ring? That there is a skin and then they have 50,000 coins along with it and it goes for $7. And
that is out of my tax bracket, 100%.
And I just went, you know what? I need the 500,000. So I just bought it all just to roll a piece again. I didn't even roll speed. I was like, this is so disappointing. Oh my god.
I think they have implemented a lot of anti-whale strategy. Kind of weird in the game, and it's like intentional. Like you cannot unlimited refresh stamina. You cannot buy gear. You can buy very limited amount of lattices. And that kind of thing. It's like the whale cannot farm forever, and they also can't buy their power. And getting dupes doesn't feel as crazy as other game where they unlock a whole fucking new skill. So I think the whale will have a lot less power in this game where I think in other game you spend $1,000, you're gonna feel like a god immediately.
Yes, 100%. I definitely didn't feel anything, and I had what do you call it? Anima 4? I'm gonna just say Anima 4. Anima 4 Heinrich. I have an Anima 4 Hellkit. Anima 3 Messiah. And my Hellkit just dies still. Like it just disappears. it doesn't stay on the board very long. And so let's talk about the dupe system. How do you feel about it? Do you think that it's a good healthy balance right now? Because I know a lot of people say the last dupe, the 10% extra attack and damage reduction, is a big deal. But what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about that though. Like I don't think 10% is a lot because I in Summoners War we have artifact system, so it's very similar to the shell system, but not really. It boosts your damage. Like you can have an artifact that boosts your damage by, let's say, 15% to one certain element. So the moment you hit like maybe 20 to 25%, you feel like crazy. But when you hit 10% or 15% roll, it's like it's a bit better. Like I can see that, but it's not much. It's not gonna change the game the whole lot. And here's like 10%. And then I think like the bonus stat is like it might make you feel like because FOMO is very, very real. The whales will have that extra 10% stat. They will do a bit more damage. But at the end of the day, if you draft really well, I think that's gonna really minimize the difference between a whale and a non-whale. And the thing is, I think at the start you might be fighting whale on their way to whatever rank you're applying, but after like a month where the whale has ascended to whatever rank they deserve, you'll be fighting people in your own pay bracket that they probably don't have dupe, and you probably lost because you draft like shit, and it's not because they have 10% more damage or whatever.
Yeah. Did you think that because we knew that the whole community was saying, oh, the dupes don't work, and then you came out and you said, guys, the dupes work. Were you always under that connotation that the dupes were always working, and you didn't fall prey to the whole misinformation?
So I wasn't sure, so I asked Jack for I think a week before I talk about it. And he confirmed to me that dupes work. And then I'm like, oh, okay, kind of cool. Can you talk to the community? He was like, oh no, I'm kind of worried the community is going to go crazy, which they did. But I keep trying to tell him that you need to tell them earlier. Like the earlier, the better. So the moment that I can't wait anymore, I told him, I'm going to talk about it. And I talk about it, and then boom, the whole whatever thing on Discord start blowing up. And I think it's great that we kind of just hash it out earlier, so that there's time for the community to settle down and then maybe forget about it at the launch, and it's not gonna feel like, oh my god, they're hiding shit, because now we talk about it, we admit that dupes work, but you can ask any whale, they will tell you, wait, really? I didn't feel shit. The dude didn't really help me do anything whatsoever. Like my units still die in Ember track because the boss just one shot me or whatever. It doesn't really matter that much, honestly.
Yeah. And to me, it never really made sense to begin with, because if I look at the dupe system, on dupe 2 and dupe 4, you get like, you know, special like increases on your special stats, like maybe an increase in your shield, or maybe, you know, increased crit damage, that kind of stuff. And to me, this is the perspective of a will. If I willed on my Hell kit to get that 8% crit because my gears, my modules did not roll very well, and I got myself to 100% crit because of that 8% on my dupe, and I go into RTA and you turn that shit off, and I'm now at 92% crit, and I miss a crit, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed, bro. I'll be like, how did I miss a crit? I'm supposed to be 100%. Right? So it never made sense to me. To me, at least, you know, if you want to say the dupe's turned off, at least if the last dupe is turned off, sure, I don't care. But don't disturb my stats, because I've, you know, tried to make that very, you know, very tailored to that unit already. So it never really made sense to me to begin with, and then when you said that, it made more sense to me, but the whole community was technically misinformed. I'm glad that, you know, it took 48 hours for them to resolve the entire issue, because that is something that is so rare to see nowadays in, like, you know, game companies, where they just immediately address the issue straight away. And so I really, you know, am glad that they did that. And so moving into the, you know, more of the hyper talk, let's talk about the new unit.
Also, one thing.
Yeah?
Because of the dupe drama, we got lower pity. Yay! I didn't really care about the dupe drama. We got lower pity. Yay! Less money need to spend to get pity.
That lowering amount was, you know, shows they care actually. To me, it felt like they care. They're like, okay, so how can we help, you know, rectify this problem? Less dupes, less summoning, so that you can get your unit faster. And then RTA shop now has dupes. So sometimes, you know, voicing out these things helps, because now if you don't ask, you don't get. Let's be real here. So with the new unit coming out, Mio, a lot of people are saying that she is a Marvel and Kraken combined, because she turned meter pushback, not pushback, she steals turn meter, and then she
even better. Steal is better.
Yeah, I think steal is better, because now you give it to your units too. S2 is an AoE freeze, S1 is a freeze. What do you think? Just by listening to this kit, how do you feel?
I mean, it's definitely really, really strong, and it's gonna be hard to get as well, because it's gonna be in the same tier as like Doki, Lily, Hendrik, whatever. So I would assume I would not get the unit. Honestly, I assumed I don't get any Apex enemies. That's how I play these kind of games, so I can have a peace of mind when I play the game. I don't expect to get the rare shit. Like, if I get it, ooh, amazing. If I don't, it's whatever. I think about like how I use the SR and the lower rarity character to their max potential. But this character seems really, really good on paper. She provides like literally half the thing that you need, or even more than half the thing you need to have the best control situation, where you lock down the enemy team forever without them ever moving. So on paper, she seems really, really good. I'm not sure how she's gonna be dominant in PvP, but if you pull this character for PvE, you're gonna have a great fucking time. Especially when you can combine with Kraken, you can combine with Marvel, you can combine with any other slow debuff, because she doesn't have slow debuff. Well, that is like the underrated thing that people don't talk about when they say that, oh, she's like the SSR Marvel. No, Marvel has slow debuff. That is huge. She has speed buff, but the slow debuff is also very huge, because if they don't move, you don't get hurt. Like, they don't do anything to you whatsoever, especially in PvE, where they don't have shell that fucking boost their bar randomly or cleanse their stuff when they get a turn. Having slow debuff on the enemy team is going to be great. So if you combine her and Marvel, you achieve like the perfect control state with 2 units, which is really, really good.
Yeah, I think that is insane. In terms of for PvP, because when I look at a unit, I just look whether it's PvP viable, because long time ago when I started playing, you know, PvP games, I had a mentor, and my mentor said to me, if a unit can be good in PvP, it will definitely be good in PvE. So I was like, okay. So I've always worked under that framework. And for me, her problem is that she doesn't strip. She doesn't have a dispel. So even if you build her extremely fast, if you go into a whole team full of bulwarks, she does nothing. She has to wait a whole turn, and then you have a whole turn to kill her. So that is my only problem with her. But besides that, she just sounds like she's gonna, you know, clap PvE for you. She's gonna make PvE, your PvE life super easy. Right? What about the other unit? Did you see what the other unit is? Because I paused the video and I looked at that little skill description they have underneath their bar. She has 2 dispels and a wound as an S2. So we're finally getting more dispellers instead of just Heinrich. I think that's pretty cool.
I think she's an SR character from the screenshot. So we're having another SR that can have an AoE dispel. So I think the only one that has AoE dispel for SR right now is Viper, which is already a pretty solid character. AoE dispel into slow debuff, absolutely incredible. But we definitely need another AoE dispel in a different element. I think the game need to have, like, let's say a role like AoE dispel. They need to have one in each element so that the game will be a bit more healthy because you can play around with different elements. So we're definitely getting one more. Hendrik is like the peak AoE dispel, and then we have Viper. Or we have Mia, the fire character that was new in the final test that nobody really care about as well. But she's also AoE dispel and turn meter pushback. Really, really good. So that's going to be the one you build to move in front of Mia. Mio. Fuck, they're all the same name.
All the lollies is, Mia Mio. I'm like,
Yeah. But yeah, another AoE dispel. But the important thing that we need to know is like how fast she is. Because Viper, I think, has like 105 base speed, which is like garbage in this game. I think 110 is like the middle ground for like most unit, and then below that is like a bit slow, and then above that is like the Lily tier, the Hendrik tier. I think Hendrik is a bit faster as well. Marvel tier 116 base, very, very good. So if you have like the AoE strip unit a bit too slow in terms of base speed, it's gonna be harder to speed tune them to the follow-up character that happen to be very fast, like Marvel, for example. So I think we need to see the base stat for sure, and then if there's any additional effect, because we only saw the skill animation, but we didn't really see what is the actual description of the skill 3. But having AoE dispel is already like pretty solid, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And also the wound is also super important because we have a lot of problems if you're playing RTA, about Tiamat. With heal block, as long as you're blocking her healing, Tiamat is never gonna, transform. So that's also something very important to note. And also, the PvE one, the one that, heals every time. Remember that Dahlia, I think her name is? With the little parasite thing?
Yes.
Every time it hits you, it heals. Putting a heal block on that, makes your life so much easier. I couldn't clear that run without a Heinrich. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was so hard. Because every time I hit them, it was she healed back for like 5k. I was like, that's all my damage.
That's why Hendrik is so good in so many different content. Surprisingly, he's like actually super good. And we also don't know if the SR has a unique passive, because some of them have and some of them don't. It's kind of weird. But some of them will have like a unique passive to them that somehow they put in the skill 1 description. So you got to really see the description to see what kind of special thing that she rocked. Because I think I saw she has a yin yang unique buff. And also in this game, a lot of units like have their unique buff as well. So you got to see to really feel the how well the unit will work in different kind of content.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually something I didn't actually notice. You see, you're telling me something. I didn't actually notice that yin yang thing. And it's like I like how they they put like this little passive stuff. Like if they want a unit to have 3 skills, then they have a little passive in their skill 1, right? Like Ramoka, nobody knew that Ramoka, if you killed something, you cool down her S3, because that thing's like that is like that little thing in the S1, that little passive there, right? So that's the little how would I say, this little quirks that Etheria Restart has, that if you only through playing the game, you'll actually get a feel of it. And so the other thing that I want to talk about, which can segue into it, is the accuracy and resistance, which is kind of interesting the way they did it in this game, right? So you can actually, double your percentage chance of your base activation by having more accuracy. So accuracy is not a shit stat anymore. I don't know about you, but back in E7, we see accuracy, effect resistance, you're like, oh, this is a garbage piece now. Do you have
it's like a joke, like it's RNG stat. Why do I need that?
Yeah. So how do you feel about the way that they are utilizing accuracy to improve your hit rate on your skills? How do you feel about that?
I think that's actually pretty cool, because when I first checked out the game, I saw that a lot of units have effect activation rate cap at like 60%, like Kraken Freeze at 60%, Viper Strip 75%. I was like, wow, I play Summoner's War and things activate at 100%. I hate it because it won't land all the time because of innate resistance. This game has it too. So I thought, wow, more RNG, this game is gonna suck. But then, because if you have more accuracy, all the skill would now reach 100% activation rate. Oh, it's not that bad anymore. And the innate resistance of this game is lower to 10%. So it's not as frequent, but nobody can really tell because you only remember the time where you get fucking triple or quad resisted. You got quad 10%. Oh my god, you only remember that. But overall, there's gonna be less like stupid RNG resistance. You build your team in a way that if you go first, you win. If you outspeed, you win. But because of innate resist, you lose. It's kind of lame. So reduce that a little bit. I think it's great. They also mentioned that if you out effect rest other people, then you can actually decrease their activation rate by like maximum half, I think. So that is something that we need to really play the game and actually build maybe triple effect rest on a unit, like Ling Lo, for example, because you can cleanse, to really see if it's worth it to decrease the enemy activation to like half. If you decrease Kraken activation to half, it's going to be 30% chance to freeze, which is like kind of shit overall. Not gonna lie, 30% is like ass. So we need to see, because they can also build like triple accuracy to counter you. But if we do that, then they have no HP and defense, so you can one-shot them. So it's a whole a lot of strategy can be developed in the future, and you can never really tell if the enemy is going triple effect rest or like they're going triple HP. So it's gonna be like a gamble to go in to see how tanky they are. Can you one-shot them? All the questions. It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm. And so, because I know you played in the Fusion Cup, right? Did you know about this this equation at that time?
No idea.
No idea?
No, I was kind of doubting, because how the fuck did a Viper strip me all the time? It's 75%. I play with 75% strip in Summoner's War, and it stripped like 2 units. I'll be happy, dude. But like here, this thing is stripping me all the time. Like something gotta be mysterious here. But I never really think too much about it, because you never know if they're gonna change the equation and all that good stuff in the future.
Yeah, and so because of that, the reason why I'm asking this is because if you knew about this activation chance being increased because of more effect accuracy, would you have built more of your units with Swift Smite, the one with extra speed and effect accuracy? Because I assume that you looked at that piece and you're like, I'm never using that. I'm just going to use Swift Rush and Swift Raid. I'm never going to touch Swift Smite.
Actually, out of habit, everything that had debuff on them, like if I want this to land something, I was instinctively building it with like more than 100 accuracy. Like out of habit. Like, okay, this thing is freezing, more accuracy. Maybe less a bit of other things, more accuracy. Like it's just habit.
Okay. But for us in E7, we have this thing where if you're a tank, we will put, a minimum of, 100 effect rest. Because if they can't tank and they can't taunt, because most of our tanks have taunt, they're useless. Because they're not protecting anymore. So that is interesting, because the similarities was you did it for debuffers. I did it more for tanks and units that supporters that wants to resist debuffs. So thinking about that, what do you think about the shell system? Because the shell system gives you a whole lot of base stats, which is something I didn't know when I entered the first beta. I completely neglected shells because I thought it's like artifacts in E7 where you just get like a little bit of attack and some little skill. And I was like, okay, forget that. Let's go straight into Doki Doki. I'm gonna farm Doki Doki. Let's go. Went in there, did that. 3 days later, look at my Discord. Some guy already has a plus 155 Lily. I'm like, where the fuck did you get 155 speed from? I'm looking at mine plus 64. I'm like, what's happening? And I was like, okay. It's because he has this little fucking bee, this shell, with 30 speed.
It is maxed out.
Yeah, and I looked at my shell. It's only plus 10 speed. I'm like, my multipliers are not multiplying. How did you feel when you first played the beta? I'm not saying this beta, I'm saying the first time you ever played the beta. Did you have that problem as well?
So when we play in the cup, we were given like account with like endgame shell, so we just like slap that on. All the shell were max, so we didn't really think too much about it. But my first impression was the shell were really good. Like I feel everyone was going like Codex of Magic for cooldown reduction, and I thought, wow, everyone can equip the same shell and they all can use a skill 3 immediately. that was like broken because we weren't really building team the best way possible. So we didn't really know how to counter the Codex of Magic. We didn't know the Gigabyte or the cleansing shell can be equipped on certain character to counter that. So I was so shocked, like, wow, what kind of broken shit is this? But the more I played, the more I watched replay from other player, the more I realized that okay, it's not that broken if you really know what you're doing. You start equipping different character with shell that can cut in between and then cleanse your team or buff immunity. Then it's not that strong because you can immediately control them as well. And if they are using Codex of Magic, they don't have all the protective shell, and you can actually counter control them, and they can't get out of it compared to you. So it's a very, very cool thing. But one thing that I still can't really feel comfortable is that it's so small when you look at the shell, and the color is not very obvious, so you can't really tell what they're using. You have to go in the fight, click on the buff thing to see the whole information, and you see like, oh, okay, they're using that. But because how the UI work is a bit clunky when you're trying to look at information, and then you get out of that, and then oh shit, you have like 5 seconds to do your thing. So I think if there's an easier way to identify what the hell they're using, that'd be great. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely had that thing because for us, in E7, when we were looking at, your turn meter bar, for you guys, it's what do you call it, the priority? Is that what you guys
what a term?
Yeah.
We call it attack bar, is the bar.
Yeah, so when you look at the bar, we just click at the bar, we can see everything. All the status elements, all the buffs, all the debuffs, all the cooldowns, we can see it. This one you have to go into a different page, open it up, and then by the time you click out of it, you're like, ah shit, what am I supposed to do again? So I think that is something that they can definitely improve. And I'm always, I'm a fan of the whole idea of, ship the product, then iterate it as we go. Rather than, build, and then you ship it, and then you wait all that time just to get a product that, you get feedback that, you could have just gotten immediately anyway. So that's something, in the future, it will definitely get polished. I have no doubt about it, right? And if they don't, then, we're gonna talk about it anyway, all of us. So what are some of the things that you would like to see implemented in Etheria Restart in the future?
Let's see, there's so many. Which one do I want to talk about?
Give me your 3 main ones.
Hottest topic is skill priority for auto farming. That'd be great because a lot of units have pretty dumb AI. For example, Mia, the unit I mentioned earlier, the fire, the red element AoE strip, AoE heal character. If she get attacked, she will heal. So if you outspeed the boss, she will strip. But then you don't need her to heal turn 1 most of the time. But if she get attacked, she heals. So not everyone's gonna get like plus 180 speed to farm Inferno early on. So one way, if we can force her to strip turn 1, that'd be great. That's a good start. And I think that can apply to like defense team as well, where you can set up certain skill priority because let's say you want Tiamat to shield turn 1 for whatever purpose. That's going to be great as well. So I think that's going to be a very important thing. Another thing that I want to see is you should be able to test your arena defense and in the future guild defense team. You set up a team, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. So if you can test the defense, attack it with your own team, you can further fine-tune your defense to counter certain strategy. That's going to be great because you can put in a shell and you hope it's going to work, but you can't really know until the arena rush day come, and then you go and rush for your new rank, and then your strategy just doesn't really work out, and it's too late to change now. And I think that's going to be another thing that they can implement for you to test the things that you set up as defense team. And one thing that's more like nitpicking for me personally is that I'm very tired of open world game. Okay, that shit bore me to death. I can't be fucked to walk around in this like meaningless area that doesn't really serve any purpose. I know they're trying to put some effort in, create some mini puzzle here and there, but I can't be asked to do any of that, bro. Especially Ember Track. The middle stages where you have to walk around to like find a chest here and there, like, oh my god, what a waste of time. And you have to do that every month. Oh my god. Can I fight the thing and go to the next stage, please?
You know what? I actually don't like that in the story, but I don't mind it in the Ember Track because it's good, good streaming material.
God, I hate walking around. It's like, oh, I gotta hit the behind. If the fucking thing find me, I gotta fight it now. Oh my god, what a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's modern day, gacha games now. We have to have this little sandboxy thing, but speed it up would be great. I'm here to grind the game. I want to get my rewards, my materials, my resources. I'm not here to, go walk about and go socialize. Let's be real here. But yeah, guys, this has been, one of the more fun Downtime podcasts I've done. If you guys don't know who Sean B is and you have not seen his channel, please go to his channel. All right, the links will be in the description down below. Subscribe to him. All right, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye bye.